So such an important lesson, I think, for all of us, and especially for young entrepreneurs out
I
there.
think this is the biggest lesson that there could be.
So friends, welcome to this episode of The Spirit of Enterprise, and this time I have with me my dear friends from engineering college days, Amit Jagtap and Shivraj Jadhav. Now, the reason why I wanted to invite Amit and Shivraj is because both of them come from non-typical business families.
How world works, because when I came out, I had no clue what world is.
Real world experience.
When we were actually going to college, knowledge was restricted with the colleges at that point or universities. Today is not the case, right? I mean, look at everything like it's your business, right? I mean, you do a job, it's your business. You do anything, that's your business, and that's entrepreneurship again. I would build things with my own hand.
You would build things with your own hands. Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of The Spirit of Enterprise. And with me today I have some of my besties from way back in my college days, Amit Jagtap and Shivraj Jadhav. Now these guys are literally like my chuddy buddies. We've done some crazy stuff together in what we call as the times when we studied engineering. But the reason why I wanted to have Amit and Shivraj with us today is because both Amit and Shivraj are extremely successful, of course, but both of them come from non-business or non-typical business families. But both of them have moved into the world of business, the world of entrepreneurship, been around the world and grown their business and their dreams like crazy. So today I want to talk to both of them and share with you about what kind of a mindset it takes for young people who are ambitious and want to grow something of their own to really build something. So Amit and Shivraj, thank you very much for coming all the way across the city and being a part of the Spirit of Enterprise.
Thank you for inviting
Thanks,
us.
Aditi.
Hey, show a little bit more enthusiasm, guys.
Thank you so much.
What are you looking forward to about this discussion?
I've been coming to your place to Enterprise. I've been there a couple of times, interacted with the children there. I see when we started off in our teens probably or beginning years just after our graduation, we had a lot of energy but didn't know where to go. And when I see you talk to these kids about how to shape up their future, that's brilliant. So big thank you from a lot of us who will probably, I would like my children to come to you for some kind of training or guidance, because we didn't have anything like that. We had to figure out our own way, because me, Shivraj, I think so both of us didn't come from business family, so never had that background of business. So it was, while engineering also, the focus I think so was to get a decent job. You guys were better students. I was a duffer, so I came last. So I didn't have any perspective of getting a good job as well. So life was tough then. But if I had something like this earlier, path would have been easier. But still, no complaints. What we learned on the way was good. So yeah, so looking forward, I think so. I'm really glad what you're doing. Really helps this generation to go in the right direction, or at least find the right direction. They can like or dislike things while they're studying. It's not going to happen 3 years, 5 years after the graduation part.
Yeah.
So you can prepone certain things, or you can find your way slightly quicker.
Yeah.
So that's what. Yeah.
Make fewer of the mistakes that we made in engineering, or make different mistakes. Yeah. What about you, Shivraj? What are you looking forward to in this conversation?
Well, the last time I was there at Let's Enterprise, I met a bunch of Amit called them children, but I think they'll get offended with that. But the young ones that were there, I think they really were brilliant. They were asking questions which I didn't think, and coming from the young people who were there, who were 18 years old, I thought those questions were really very to the point, and the way the guidance was going from your side as well as other facilitators that are there, I thought they were really channeling them in the proper direction. Also, I feel that this conversation, if it helps anybody, I guess you can learn from. We can only talk about mistakes that we made. Life is long. You can make the mistakes while you are young. I mean, at 18, going on to you, I think you can make mistakes till 30, or even maybe we are still making them. But I think there's still a long time for the young ones to figure out what they want to do in life. So. So if this conversation helps some of the kids there, then that should be good for me.
Absolutely. Like you said, that we made mistakes and we are making mistakes and we are going to keep making mistakes. But if we can learn from them and grow, then nothing like it. Amit's father was a senior engineer in the PWD, in the public works departments in the city government. And Shivraj's father, he has been a technical consultant for the sugar industry for a long time. And both these guys had this crazy ambition to do something crazy in life. And their journey, their enterprising journey of how they have grown is what I want to share today, what I want to discuss, and let's see where it goes from there. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Amit. Amit, I know that you are someone who cares very deeply about friendships, and I have seen you be there, rock solid for friends at times. I remember in third year when my grandmother passed away, and at 3 o'clock at night, you and me were roaming around on a bike, some river somewhere near Pune, and talking about, spirituality. And I've seen you, stand rock steady with your friends. But I've also seen Amit grow into business with his friends. I mean, normally they say don't do business with friends and family, but Amit has worked closely with friends and co-founded several businesses, starting from straight out of engineering, working with a company, then starting a small project of 18 flats, and then, starting another startup in the laundry business, and then growing to one of the largest real estate developers in Pune, Sky Eye Developers, which is a 500 crore plus company and has more than 2 or 3 different sectors and domains that they are interested. What a journey it's been, Amit. But for me, I think what's the word that comes to my mind when I look at you is friendship, right? So that's what Amit is all about. And this friend of mine, Shivraj over here, I think, this guy is somebody who grabs opportunities, I have seen him be fearless, not worry about what the future holds, and take the path that life throws at him. So right from, after engineering, becoming a railways contractor and going somewhere inside interiors Maharashtra to join railway tracks, to going and doing a master's in the US, and then ending up becoming the head of an American real estate glass construction company, and then ending up going to Africa and setting up a mine, living in Kenya for 4 years, coming back and then joining up with Amit to grow and take Sky Eye Developers to the next level. I've seen this guy living his life with a spirit of adventure, and I think that's what really being enterprising is all about, being able to maintain relationships and growing with this spirit of adventure. So the first question that I want to throw to both of you guys is friendship and values and relationships. Does it hold a place in the world of business, in this hard, what we call as cutthroat world of business where profits matter more than anything else? What's the role of friendships?
I think so. It becomes. I think so. For me, it always worked. Why? Because there is absolute trust. You know the person very well that you're working with. For example, if you take example of Shivraj. So I know Shivraj for more than 30 years now, but I also know the good, bad, ugly side, and he knows the same about me. So there is transparency between us. So yes, we will have different opinion on certain things. We will not align. That as we will have arguments. We will have difference of opinion. But that is related to a subject matter. Okay? If it could be a project, it could be a design, it could be a way to do things. But after that, you leave that at some point and then carry on with your friendship. That is, so fundamentally, I think so, if your relationships are strong and you trust each other, you can definitely work with each other. It's been my experience for last 20, 30 years, what I've been working with friends. It's easier to work because you don't have, you know that we are going to give best of ourselves to the job because you are completely dedicated. You're not holding anything back. Okay. And even if there is a failure, it is going to be an honest failure. It's very understandable because uh, the trust you have in each other, because
Right.
nobody's kept something back or held something back. So I think so. I see more advantages. I don't know why people say don't do business with friends. I think so. If you're mature enough to value what, so for me, friendship is more valuable than say money.
Right.
In that sense.
Interesting.
Yeah, because you can make money and you can lose money. Friends is something you should make and keep them there.
Nice one. Nice one. But I like that you say that, don't be afraid to do business with your friends, but
Yeah.
you have to have that kind of, build that kind of relationship and maturity. Well, what's your thoughts on friendship?
I agree with Amit in those stuff. As long as you know that you don't take those problems or those discussions home with you,
Yeah.
then you are then you're good friends. Then you can say you are good friends. I've had many a spat with Amit or on a certain project maybe or a certain thing that is happening at office. But that's just at office level. It's never taken home. I can right at 5 o'clock. I can go and sit and have a drink with him, and we'll not talk about it again. If you can have that kind of relationship, if you have those kinds of friends, I'm sure that you can think about pursuing that line of thought of doing business with friends. Yeah.
And how important is it that you think to develop these kind of relationships, for a young entrepreneur, for someone who's ambitious? Do you think it plays a role in your growth journey? Do you think it has played a role in yours? Because I've seen you work with friends very closely.
I think so. For me, where I came from or the kind of relationships I had and the friends I worked with, everything became easier because there were, instead of two hands, there were four hands, six hands working at the same problem. We collaborate. What I'm not good at, he is better at. He takes a lead there. Something like that. So you solve a problem quicker, better. See, as long as you have a aligned goal of achieving something and working, so both the efforts are in the same direction. The end goal is same. You have to make a nice product. In our case, we want to make a good house to sell. Okay, so if that's the end goal, there could be different ways of doing it, but the end goal is, once it is fixed, working with somebody you know really well really helps cut time, effort. You have more expertise coming in.
But it also creates a lot of fights, because I remember once when we were trying to decide whether to go to Mahabaleshwar or to go somewhere else. I remember that we had almost grabbed each other's throats and kicking each other out of the car, right? So how do you avoid, when you said maturity, or what is it that you think, needs to be taken care of?
That happened 25 years ago.
Well, those times were different as well. But I think as we have grown in life, I think one thing that at least I feel that, each one of us has a different background. We have seen different kinds of lives. With life, I think you get you form your own vision about what is right and what is wrong as well. But this has also taught me that you also need to look at it from that person's perspective as well.
The other person's view.
Yeah, the other person's view. As long as you keep doing that and keep repeating that and try to find a common ground between your perspective and the other person's perspective, then business probably can happen. So I'm trying to say that I think perspectives are very important.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that's really interesting, because I find that today in the world of, in this whole thing of becoming successful and ambition and drive and proving ourselves right? I see this happening a lot in teams, in companies, losing sight of the other person's view and thinking that I'm right, and that breaks relationships, right? And this is why I was taking some time on this.
So accommodation is something that you have to do. You have to. So for me, business partnerships are, I call them marriages. Is the same thing. If you're married, I'm married. You know how it takes effort to run that marriage. You know, you have to, even a lot of times the wives are right? At least they feel that way.
I hope they're watching this podcast.
So you need to, if you have that mindset that no matter what, in good and bad times, I need to make this work because it's worth it. Okay, so sometimes I need to take a step back, say sorry for that matter, or take a stand down from my position,
Right.
to make it work. But what at the end of the day, we should be able to make it work.
Right.
Okay, so if you have that attitude, then it becomes much easier.
Right.
So every partnership that you do, if you think that this is a lifelong and your life depends on it, your future depends on it, then you definitely make it work. So it is, and actually it is like that. So for me, my experience, if I have to work with you or Shivraj or somebody else, I need to take it at that serious level, on a personal level. So where I am willing to take a step back. I'm not going to, after a point, I'm not going to have my expertise or my ego come in the way, and take a step back. And then it'll work for sure.
But I think what Amit is also saying is that you need to actually think about and give the other person's thought some perspective, his perspective, some thought, and try to figure out why that perspective has evolved, right? Because his perspective is because of whatever things he has gone through in his life, and maybe the way he sees the world. So if you sit back and think about it and then come to a conclusion, and this is the reason why he's put forward
Right.
this solution forward, then maybe you will see the path on how to mitigate and see common ground between your perspective and his perspective.
Beautiful. And that's how collaboration can really happen, right? I see that happening with so many of our student partners at Let's Enterprise working on client projects. And what I'm hearing you say is that, I may be wrong or you may be wrong, but what is important is that the solution should be right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's not get our egos in the way. So such an important lesson, I think, for all of us, and especially for young entrepreneurs out there.
I think this is the biggest lesson that there could be in terms of business. Whoever you do business with.
In terms of business, you think this is a big lesson? Brilliant. So, Amit, I would like to ask you a little bit about your journey from the completion of engineering.
Okay.
And you started. So, can you tell us, quickly your journey from engineering onwards?
I did my polymer engineering. I passed out year 99. And I'm not a good polymer engineer. I never understood chemistry. I always wanted to become a civil engineer, but external suggestions put me in polymer engineering.
Your father wanted you to do polymer, but you wanted to
I
do
always
civil.
wanted to be a civil engineer. But after the engineering happened, I spoke to him and told him that this is not something I can continue with.
But you went through with the polymer because you wanted to respect your father's wishes.
Yeah, because there is no other option also. In those times, today's children, they have options. We didn't. We had to finish. So we finished the engineering, just about finished. And then he got me my first job with Rowan Builders in 1999. I started as a site engineer on a small site in Kothur, where I was. I didn't know how a brick or a cement bag looked like that because I had no background, and I started learning from there. In year and a half time, where the site I started working where, I became the project manager kind of a person there. Because
Okay, 1 minute. So your father helped you get the first job with Rowan Builders, and you started as a site engineer.
Yeah,
So
plain site engineer.
you didn't become like a babu sitting in the office.
No. It had to be on practical on ground because I wanted that. I am not somebody who would do well in an office or a classroom or things like that. I was an outdoor guy, so site made a lot of sense for me. I wanted to build things as a basic vision.
And what were your working hours like?
Yeah, the normal working hours would start at 8:30, quarter to 9 types. We had to be on site, and the day ended around 8:39 in the night, so 10 to 12 hours on a lower side, 6 days a week.
Okay.
sometimes 7 days a week. But I enjoyed that because I was learning every day from all, right from small workers to the engineers.
So that's an important thing. You
Yes.
wanted to be
Yes.
in construction. That somehow this.
No, I always knew.
How did you know that you
I
wanted
don't
to
know.
do construction?
It was there in my head. I had to do something with the buildings or the bridges since I was in school.
Interesting.
So
And that time construction was not such a big money making.
No, I don't think so. I think so. Civil in 90s. I think the civil was the last branch to be filled. And nobody wanted to become a civil engineer. All the civil engineers went to Infosys to work. Probably after that.
So you're saying in a year and a half you.
I learned the basic ropes. I knew how to manage a site. I went through one iteration of complete from excavation to painting of a building. I learned a lot, and then I could work well. It came naturally to me, and I had a grasp of those things.
Lovely.
So I started to manage that site. From there, one more side I worked as an engineer. Then my boss thought I was good at communication, so he put me in sales.
Okay.
So I started doing sales in year 3 or 4. First 3 years were strictly.
So first 3 years were hardcore site work,
Hardcore.
and then he thought
Yeah.
ये बंदा sell कर सकता है.
हाँ, तो फिर some accident happened. Accident in the sense that I was chatting with some customer who would come randomly, and I was talking to him, explaining how the flat was built.
Okay.
And he told me you should do sales also. So I started doing sales. I did sales for I think so 2 or 3 years after that. I was good at sales. Let me tell you, I know how to sell an apartment.
Okay.
So did that with the construction knowledge, got that side of business really well. Thanks to Rowan Builders, my bosses Shri Suhas Lunkad and Sanjay Lunkad, they really helped me, gave me a lot of scope to widen my horizon, let me work on different things, gave me exposure. So grew well in that time with them.
Okay.
They also gave us the first opportunity to start our own small business with them. First 2 projects, we were minor partners with them.
So you actually did a partnership with your boss. And from what I heard,
so they mentored us.
And you were friendly with them.
Obviously,
Did this have?
No, so
did-
we were
did-
partners in a, well, let me be very honest. We were partners on paper,
Okay.
but I worked for him till 2007 completely because we did 2 projects, but they were bosses. And we were still learning.
So you looked at them like bosses.
Today-
But did this, I mean, your relationship with them, was it influenced by the fact that your father helped you get the job? Or how did you build this relationship? I mean,
Again,
it
you
doesn't
say you can get a job through your father, but then you have to prove yourself, you have to be worthy of it. So the next forward things I think happened with the amount of effort we put in.
Right.
We did the things in right direction, so probably they appreciated that or they like what we did. Today also we have very good relationship. I still consider them as my godfathers in
Wow.
the business.
Back to relationships.
Yeah, so it really happened. Today also I still go to them for advice.
Amazing.
On any critical decision I have to take. If I am not understanding something, I will go and seek help. And they are very kind and gracious to really help us with everything they've got.
Wonderful. So you did a project where you were a partner, a minor partner, but they were your
Yes.
bosses, and that was from 1999 you started, and 2007 you said you.
2004 we did a project with them. Yeah, 2004 one project and 2006 second project. 2007 and we started our own company, Sky.
You ventured out and
Yeah.
and you started with a project I remember with 18 houses.
Yeah, our first project was 18 houses, 18 row houses we started. Then second came in 2008 sometime with 100 houses, apartments in Baner. And then we grew. Yeah,
How many houses has Skya made so far, all told?
7,000.
7,000 houses. No? So from 18 to 7,000.
Yeah.
Right. So Skya has started. But in this, somewhere you also started a laundry business.
In 2004, I think the 3 or 4, a very close friend of mine, so he had already started that business. It was called Dhulai. I love the name. And I said, if he ever wanted any help, growing it, I would be interested in partnering it. So I was still working with Rohan at that point of time, but on the side, I started helping, and we decided to work together in 2004. We put up a small factory in Hadapsar for washing clothes. And when to give you, I was not involved hands-on every day in that business, but I used to support it via infrastructure and money and other things and the support system, wherein we started at, when I joined, it was a 6 lakh per year turnover business. 2009, we were washing clothes worth 6-7 crores a year.
Wow.
So it grew really well. It did really well. Were happy, but for some good reasons we had to sell it. So we got out of that business in 2009.
Oh, but what a crazy, I mean, at that time you would have thought of starting a laundry service.
Yeah.
What did your family think about this venture?
So I stopped asking.
Okay. Interesting, huh? Very
I like to do things which I find which I want to do. Like today also I'm working on 1 or 2 new startups parallel to the construction business. But what appeals to me, I like to, pursue it. Let's see where it goes.
right. And as you've grown the construction business, I mean, other than Shivraj, who you work very closely with, who else is involved amongst your
So
friends?
again, lot of friends that we work with. My younger brother is biggest support system that I have. He looks after our business development, sales, marketing, all that. My other friend, very close friend from college time, Sushant Jadhav. He heads the company. He looks after the finance bit and licensing bit of it. He's a very intelligent guy. Can read legal documents really, really well. Understands numbers really well. I understand design bit, construction bit.
Right.
Shivraj looks after the entire operation now. Rahul looks after the human resource part and the infrastructure part for us. So we're 7, 8 good friends working together in this venture.
And from what I hear, complementary skills. Right? Each one brings something different to the table.
They all come from very funny, but for a construction company, none of the top management is a civil engineer.
Okay, so the undergrad degree didn't really have an impact.
No, it didn't. It had engineering helped all of us, I think, but you don't have to be particularly, a computer engineer or a civil engineer or a polymer engineer to run a business after a point.
Right. And you then also have ventured out into a very high-tech polymers business at some point.
Yes.
Could you quickly tell us a little bit about that?
So another friend, very close friend of mine, Dr. Sachin Jain, was a topper of the class when I was doing engineering.
So I'm going to take a pause there because my friend Amit took 5 years to complete engineering, if I may say that, Amit.
Yeah.
And his partner today was the topper of his engineering class, right? So back to friendships and relationships and business mindset, right? And creativity. Sorry.
So he did his masters in America, did his PhD in Netherlands, worked with top chemical companies in the world in Germany for 10, 12 years. He wanted to come back in, I think so, 2012, 13 sometime. He came back to India with a job with a Dutch company. He was in Pune, and we, being close friends, we used to meet and talk to each other. Being a Jain, he always wanted to be an entrepreneur. He had enough.
It was in the blood.
Yeah, it was in the blood. So I spoke to him. We had stabilized Sky to a certain level in construction line, and I always admired Sachin's brilliance in the kind of knowledge he has. So really wanted to. Since college time, I had this feeling. At some point, I would like to work with this guy. I don't know in what capacity.
Wow, that's interesting. You had that feeling, huh?
Yeah, I had that feeling with this guy also. So I spoke to him. He had started something small on the side while he was working. He used to work on that project on the weekends. It was his own patented technology. So we said, in 2015, 16 sometime, I think, so we spoke seriously about it. I said, you put the brain and I will put the effort. I'll take the risk because I can do that. And on that basis, let's see if we can work this out. So
Right.
2015-16, we started the first polymer, the composite business that we have. We supply high strength material to a lot of automobile companies. All major manufacturers like Mahindra, Tata, we are suppliers. Our material goes in their cars today in various different industries. We also did a second venture in polymers in 2019 with a German company. So me and Sachin went to Germany. Yeah, he knew them from his previous work, and they are leaders in bioplastics. So with a single-use plastic ban, bioplastics was coming into play in India. So we started a manufacturing facility in Chakan in 2019 with a new plant over here. So that business is shaping up. Both businesses put together, we do close to 100 plus crores right now. For a new companies, I think so it's
Amazing, and a very disruptive field, right? Sustainable plastics,
Yes.
bioplastics.
Yeah.
What is your vision now, Amit? Now that you have this 500 crore real estate company and a 100 crore sustainable plastics company, how do you see the next 10 years? Do you have?
I think so. Both companies should grow at a certain rate because what we managed in last 5-6 years, we went through some difficult times as well. There were not everything was not a smooth sailing. We were learning on our way, but I think so. What the vision is that you have to keep these companies in continuation. So it started as more or less mom and pop stores.
Right.
Both the companies, lot of things done by promoters themselves. They're driven by promoters, but somewhere down the line, now they're starting to get into a shape of a corporate where they would last without the. They need to have an onward journey for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. They have to have a future. So I think so. First ambition is that rather than a number, throwing a number, say it has to be 1,000 crores, 5,000 crores. I think so. They need to become self-governing at some point and still grow.
Because a lot of entrepreneurs, reach a certain level of success and then get stuck because we haven't thought about the next 10 years and the next 20 years and how the company will
But I
continue
think
to
so.
grow.
With most of business that happens, you come to a certain level and then stop. We had two such things. I think so. When we started in 2007, we came to 50 odd crores in 4 years and then we stopped. Then we took a leap of faith in 2012, right? 2012 sometime, I did Songbirds. Went to around 200 crores. We were till 2021, we were between 2 and 3, somewhere
Okay.
there for a long time. And now we had another growth cycle. We doubled our revenues to 500, 600, and we're trying to grow slightly more now. But that, I think so, you need to stabilize, you need to get your back end correct. You don't have to, because growth also comes at a very large risk.
Right.
And you need to manage, or at least you need to able to handle that risk correctly.
Right. And what I'm hearing you say is that there's been a leap of faith at certain points.
Yeah, that's
you have to,
right.
even though you have reached a certain level of success,
Yeah.
you have to take another big
Yes,
leap
I
of
think
faith.
so. You have to do that.
Beautiful.
But without the back end, Aditya, I mean, the back end is also very important in that.
Can you tell us a little bit what do you mean by backend in any business?
The processes that you put in place in terms of how your finance is managed, how your engineering departments are managed, or how your legal licensing departments are managed. So then whatever it takes for the business to grow, market should always give you business, right? I mean, in terms of the market, there's a demand, then obviously there is somebody who's trying to supply it. But the supply without having the proper structure behind the supply,
that helps you to deliver it.
That helps you to deliver it and sustain it. I think the sustain word is more important here. You could probably deliver, but then you're probably going to see some failure because that delivery was very haphazard.
You got the orders, but you couldn't deliver. You're saying this could be a big risk. Okay. Shivraj, let's come to your journey after engineering, which has also been a very, very interesting one. So, I know that you took up a railway contracting kind of a job opportunity. I think a government tender after that. Because I remember wondering, ki, what is this guy doing?
So I started working with a small this trading company which was doing trading with L&T Utectic in the terms of welding electrodes and things like that. And at that point in time, L&T had a specific electrode that was what was only thing that was the railways approved electrode that was for the points in crossings where the railway actually changes track, so it gets worn and torn. So that had to be reconditioned. So I was outgoing, a little bit outgoing nature, even when I was in college. So I said, well, go and dive with those people there and see whether you can generate any business. So I started going to the Solapur division there.
Okay.
Met with the somehow.
No, but let me hold you there for a moment, Shivraj. Coming from a nice, proper, traditional Maharashtrian family, your father's doing so well as a consultant. You have done engineering, 4 years BE degree, and now you are going to somewhere in Solapur and you have taken some contract. What made you do that? Didn't you want to go? And this was the time where everybody was going to Infosys and everybody was going abroad. And what made you take a decision? Didn't you get any other job?
No, I never believed that I could really sit behind a desk at any point in time. So I always felt that like to work with my hands most
You
of
knew
the time. Yeah, I knew that. That I knew. I knew I was not good at electronics. I knew I was not good at computers. So you need to understand that what you're not good at as well. So I knew I didn't want to do that. Moreover, also like any other, just like Amit, didn't want to join my dad in his enterprise. I want to do something different of my own. That was another thing. So I decided to do this. Went and sat in front of the divisional railway manager's bungalow for days, and finally gave me a chance to come and meet with him. Slowly entered that business, and I think I did that business for about a year and a half.
That's bold and courageous. I'm sure you must have beat yourself up certain days thinking, ये engineering करके बाद इसके बंगलों के बाहर में what am I doing?
No, I don't think that entered my mind, Aditya. I felt that
You were just in it.
just in it. I think
That's what I love about this.
I think even if you do a job or even if you do business, I think in a job you just treat it like it's your own business. Unless you do that, I don't think you get successful at it.
But that's what I agree. Even when I was working with Rohan, the feeling had to be that you own this. Yeah. If you have that feeling, even if you're working at what my pay was 3,000 rupees a month, then I was the lowest paid engineer in the whole college. Wow. But at the same time, I in my head owned everything. So I could make decisions in my head about what I was not authorized on. But in your head, you can take a decision. ऐसा होना चाहिए.
Nobody wants you to hold back on the. If you back your decision with the support that you give it, I don't think a business owner minds it because he sees his work is getting done, right?
Amazing. That whatever you do, you see it like you're the owner, right? See it with that sense of responsibility.
I think that's the only way to. Don't treat it like a 9 to 5 job. It's not a job. It's your business because you're going to grow with it, right? So your promoters, they should also have the same mentality that.
Wow. Don't think of it like a 9 to 5 job. Think of it like it's your business, and that's really what at Let's Enterprise we like to call as entrepreneurial mindset. Right? Think of it like an entrepreneur. It's not just about ownership. It's about how I see it. So you did this for a year and a half, and then I know you went and did masters,
I did my masters
in engineering, in nanotechnology.
No, I did my masters in industrial engineering. Yes.
Tell us about the job you did after that, because once again, I know so many of our friends who have gone and worked with big corporations in the US, but you've done something very different. Can you tell us a little bit about?
So this was the year 2000, 2001. That's just when the .com bubble also had busted. Also, like I told you, I was never interested in computers or the internet, and that was a big thing then. I wanted to still do whatever I like to do. I had gone to interview for a company after my graduation and post-graduation. And after that, after that interview, I just saw another store that was there. It was a it was a glazing store. They were into curtain walls, glazing, automotive glazing, everything as far as glazing is concerned. So I just walked into the store and I asked whether they needed somebody because I was actually looking for. Yeah.
So you went for let me get this right. You went for an interview somewhere.
Yes.
And then after that you walked into some shop next door.
Yeah.
And you went and
So it was a big
spoke
industrial
about it.
area. So the company that I had gone to interview for, they were big machine tool company, and there was a big glazing unit right next to it. But it was a mom and pop.
And this gentleman was a businessman, entrepreneur himself.
Yes.
And he said, "Ye
So I
skinned Indian guy who has come to me."
So the promoter of the company was an old Italian man, and he was sitting there in his he had this chair for he was a little disabled because of his age. So he was sitting there, and I was sitting right next to the chair to him, and he said, "I'm not looking for anybody, but you are here. I'll just talk to you." So he said, "Well, just why don't you start tomorrow?" I said, "Okay." And I said, "What do I do?" He told me that you have to work with my eldest son. So the next day I show up, and the eldest one has no clue why I'm there. So he's throwing tantrums at me all day. So first he set me on the loading dock. So I was unloading glass, I was unloading windows, I was doing all that. I did that for almost a month. Then at some point in time, he asked me to do a purchase order or work order for him. And I did it it was a very small job. And he thought I did some magic or something like that. So he started giving me a little bit more work. And that's how it grew.
Wow.
So then
You ended up being with this company for 10 years. And when you left them, I think you were kind of running the show.
Yeah, I was the president of the company at that point in time. The eldest one had passed on. He had lung cancer, so he passed on. So I was working with his younger brother now. But we had grown the business from just one state to now we were working in 3 states. We were working in Texas, we were working in Louisiana, and we were working in Alabama as well. By the time I was done with them.
Wow.
Then in 2010, I thought now it's time for me to move back to India.
But to me, what's fascinating is this is way before before the concept of the Indian CEO became like a acceptable thing in the US. I mean, we are talking about 2005, 2010.
Yeah.
And you taking on a very traditional, locally run business and growing that. I mean, that's entrepreneurial mindset. I mean, commendable. And then you came back to India and you had an Africa stint. Can you tell us about,
So I started, again, through friendships. I started working with a mining company, which a friend of mine owned. So we were doing business in Sindhudurg. We were miners of iron ore. We were exporting to China. But we felt that the Indian mining industry was getting too regulated. The gestation period of starting a mine and actually producing something was taking about 3 years. So by the time you acquire the land, the rights and everything was taking 3 years. And that's not sustainable for a business. So mining is a very high risk, high reward type of a business. So we thought that we'll go to places where the regulatory framework is a little loose, right? There is no other part in Africa. So started going to Africa, went to Angola, went to Mali. I mean, I've traveled almost all over Africa. Then settled in a place in Kenya. I found a place where there was iron ore, what the grade that we were looking for. But it was taken over by another Indian company, which was in Kenya. So it was 60,000 acres of land owned by a cooperative society. I brought all the cooperative society people to back me. There was a lot of litigation in the Kenyan courts. We managed to somehow get the rights. We acquired the mine. And the original owner is still a good friend of mine now. I mean, we've managed to bring him on board. Yeah.
So
he took his company and he's still friends with them.
he still continues to be friends. Huh? I mean, this really reminds me of, like going into unexplored territory with no knowledge of Africa, not knowing the language, not having a single contact. And I believe by the time you left Kenya, you knew the president.
Yeah. So we met with the president. Because of the loose regulatory framework, everything kind of goes from top down there. So this is a big business, right? Mining is a big business. It's affecting thousands of lives now. All the local politicians and everybody now starts to gather around you. So you need to kind of find your way through that. And in Africa, the only way it happens is through the president. So now you have to find a way to the
president. So you have to go and make friends with the president.
Yeah.
What a story. And then the journey back to India and...
So then in 2017, I had the little one. Traveling became a little too cumbersome at that point in time. Family life was getting a little unbalanced. So I thought I'd move back to India at that point in time. Then I and Amit spoke. So I always liked building things as well. I mean, so I can still remember every last job that I've done in the US. I can still go back to that place. I know the mistakes I made and the good things I did as well. Yeah.
You also like building things.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have always done that. Yeah. From railways to building a mine to making buildings to making glass panes.
I think you need to like what you do as well. Yeah.
I think that is so important. That's coming out in this discussion that, just liking what you do is what makes you excellent. Yeah. And then you don't feel bad spending more time on it and, learning and growing. Yeah. And that's what takes us forward. Wow. And Shivraj, now running the entire operations of SkyEye Developers, what does that mean? What are you responsible for? What happens? Can you tell us a little bit about, because when we say builder or, construction, they're making buildings. But when you say that you run the operations of the entire construction firm, what does that mean? What's the team? What's the key activities? And how is this work spread?
So our raw material is again land, right? Our raw material is land. So there are different partners who do different things. So once the business development department would say, now this is the raw material that we have. We have to build a project here. There is a lot of work that has gone behind why that piece of land, because of the location, because of the demand. All those things have been studied. And once that has been done, then it comes to me and Amit and Abhijit to say, now let's try to build something here that people are going to like.
So at a time, but you are running several projects, right? I think almost half a dozen projects, and now even one in Bombay, which is like a much bigger game.
Yeah.
So how does this work? How are you single-handedly able to manage all this? What's the kind of team you work with, and what systems are needed? If you can tell us very briefly.
So we do everything in-house as far as engineering is concerned. So we have our own contracts team which gives out labor contracts. We have our own purchasing team which purchases all the raw materials required. We have our own billing team which takes the invoices and everything and does billing. We have our own architectural team which works on the plans and things like that. So the engineering team is one part of it. Then there is a licensing team which now brings the approvals that are required to build this project. The finance team is always needed to support the entire enterprise there. So all of these teams now work together on all these projects.
And each project also has its own project head, is it?
So the site, our headquarters is the heart of the entire operation, where everything gets planned, and then all these plans are now sent to the site, and the site people will execute the project. The site would have a project manager, then you would have the engineers and things like that.
Interesting. So, and all these people you work closely with, so they're a part of the team, right? Wow, crazy! I can't even imagine the complexity of the operation. So guys, now this brings me to the next part and the important part, that what is it that young people need to learn, or anybody who is ambitious and wants to grow in business? What is the attitude? What is the mindset? What is the skills that is really required? So if I had to ask you, tell me, top 2 most important abilities or skills that you think are required and that people should start focusing on in the first 5 years of their career itself, what would you say?
I would say I think uh, in any job or a business that you would want to do, I think sales is a very important part.
Okay.
So sales in terms of even in a job, you have to sell yourself in terms of your communication, what you like to do, how you do. That's also a sale. So I believe that you need to focus on how to sell your communication or the things that you do. That's very important. I think that's one thing that I think everybody should learn is how to sell.
Love that. Selling is so important, but no business school teaches you how to sell.
Yeah. So I think so. Right, he rightly said that you had to sell yourself. Uh, so it could be a simple idea that I need to sell it to him. When we work together, I like say a living room looking like this. I need to convince him, so I have to kind of sell it.
Right.
You have to have that conviction and the ability to talk in certain way to do that. Second, I think so. What he has in abundance is the ability to pursue things.
Not giving up.
Not giving. So you heard a story. Can you imagine guy who went day one job is loading glass in the truck to being a president and landing in Africa without an address where to go to knowing the president? Okay, that cannot happen without superb ability to pursue things.
Right.
Unless you, so why I've always wanted to work with Shivraj, one reason was this, because this guy has that once he puts his mind to something, no matter what, it'll take a couple of years maybe, but he'll get
पकड़ेगा तो छोड़ेगा नहीं, basically.
वो पक्का है.
So resilience, not giving up.
Yeah, not giving up, just staying focused, doing whatever needs to be done to get that thing done. So that's brilliant.
And then you don't let it go.
Decision is the problem, right? How do you take a decision?
Sometimes it just I think it feels right. It's just an intuition, I would say.
Okay. Let me ask both of you guys, that you both have kids who are now ready to go to college and think ahead, and maybe they're watching this show as well. And today, there's, not today, but, we have this craze of going abroad and studying. But at the same time, as business people, as entrepreneurs, we see huge potential in India. Everything is at a place where it's ready to go. There's like a window of opportunity. So what would be your, message to young people who are beginning their career, because how do you balance these two needs to, one is to go abroad and, explore the world and get that life, but also the business opportunity in India. How do you see that?
I feel that, the reason why you go abroad is basically that the life is better, the perception of life is better. So there is no two things that life is a lot easier, smoother in regular day-to-day life is better there. However, I think in India today, life is just as comfortable. You can go from India to the rest of the world at any point in time. Now, thing that excites me about India is the sheer quantum of brain power that we have here with all the because our demographics are such that I think we are 30% or 40% of our entire population is between 30 and 50 years old or 20 and 40 years old. So I think there is a lot of brain power here. But I think we need to really focus on innovation now. I mean, I don't care how long it takes, and nobody should really care how long it's going to take. But without just picking something for somewhere and just building the replica of it is not the solution. I believe innovation is something that you need to bring here.
Okay. So you want to tell the young people that look for
possibilities. And it doesn't matter how much time you spend in your early part of your life. You have a lot of time on your hands. Spend 10 years trying to figure out and build things that you feel are the right things to build, and you will do well.
Amazing. I mean, you have a perspective on this? The opportunity in India versus going abroad?
So I think so. If one can go abroad for a bit, should go, because you see experience in your younger age, things, bigger perspective. But I think so, for an entrepreneur, I think so, no other country offers what India is offering today. We are growing our economy is growing at a staggering pace. Making in India, it has a larger impact that we see. So you want to do a job, okay, go abroad, probably look at an option there. But if you want to become an entrepreneur, you want to start a business, any industry, like he said, you can do that in India today, and there is a much better chance that you will succeed here.
Interesting.
Is what I think.
Very interesting. If you had to go back to college, okay, today, what would you want to learn differently? What would you want to do differently? How would we use our time differently?
So for me, if I had options, so like for me, I told you earlier also that I wanted to become a civil engineer, got enrolled into polymer engineering, I had to finish it. Second year, I knew this is not happening. I lost a year because of some chemistry subject. Funnily, I was the only guy who flunked in the whole university in that. So you did not have those options of choosing subjects, what you like. You can enter a stream and then come out something else, which is possible in a lot of things today in India also, in a lot of universities today in India. That one place. Second is there is no real world connect.
Right.
For job, for industrial training. We went on industrial visits. We had a field trip, like you and me, we went, right? So we saw industry from
It was like a
outside.
picnic.
It was a picnic. You were more interested in food and the song in the bus or something like that. But no, we didn't know what it was about, what we learned. So I think so. You guys did sandwich, right? Yeah. No, you did sandwich. So you at least had that 6 months on ground.
In plant training.
So that I think so is something that all colleges, all streams should do. Something hands-on, how world works, because when I came out, I had no clue what world is.
Real world experience, huh?
It took, I think, it's a good 2-3 years to start to understand it, and 5 or 7 to start working in it.
Right. And that we could have kind of started doing earlier. We started getting that grip.
I'm not saying everything is going to come in that, because but your understanding will be much better world ready.
Your mind starts opening up.
So when I see you do Karo, a couple of times I've participated, I've come with kids to simple exhibition or product, making a product or a project that your kids do. I feel very happy because they're doing it hands-on. There is team effort. The things, they go into unknown, talk to a hotel guy, to book a place, get a meal. You never do that otherwise, right? And
make sales happen.
Yeah, and make sales happen. So all that, even selling 1 rupee thing is difficult. It's not easy, okay? And because unless you go out and do that, you are never going to learn. So you have to go out and do that. So that's what I really like about enterprise. They make you go out, approach for entrepreneurship, or what do you call that? Approach for a project to work with. So some of I think 1 or 2 kids are working in our company also with for some project for a couple of months. So that I think so when they go out in the world, it's going to be slightly easier for them. I'm not going to say that it's going to resolve everything, but world understanding is much better.
Right.
The effort that needs to go to do something, because you can think a lot. You can see a reel and say how Elon Musk in 2 minutes how Elon Musk built the rocket. But you don't know the effort that went behind that rocket.
Background work that happened.
But when we were actually going to college, knowledge was restricted with the colleges at that point or universities. Today, today is not the case, right? I mean, you don't have to go to a university. You don't have to go anywhere. You can open up YouTube. You can open up anything, and it's at your desk.
And that knowledge is available. But you know what? Having said that, let me tell you. I mean, I have a lot of young friends who are doing engineering and BBA, but while all this access is there, but we are still stuck in that same routine of lectures, practicals, and submissions and exams. So my question to you guys is that if you were in college now, now with this experience, if you go to college, how would you use your time differently?
I would build things with my own hands. Today I know for a fact that's the only thing
You
that can,
would build things with your own hands.
that if you don't build things with your own hands, you don't know how that screw enters the wood. You don't know how that's if you learn that, those are the basics that will give you everything that you need.
Got it. Got it. What, according to you guys, is entrepreneurial mindset? What is the thinking or the mindset that we can call as entrepreneurial mindset?
I think so. It comes. Aditya, it comes slightly later for a younger generation. Like when I never thought I wanted to become a builder. Or the thing started. I wanted to learn this, how it's done.
The
Curiosity. And then how do you do it well? So now you working with somebody in the same field really helps because you are not discovering the wheel again. Somebody's already done that, you learn that and you take the better points and move forward. Okay. So for an entrepreneur, it's like he said, if you can do it slightly better, sell it slightly better, make it slightly better, even slight improvement from our earlier product to next product, you definitely that shows in your result on your balance sheet somewhere where it's going to do better. So basic Kida is that I have this fixed product. This needs to improve. This needs to be efficient. This needs to be better. I think.
But just like also we discussed, it doesn't need to be that you become an entrepreneur right when you are coming out of college or let's enterprise. Look at everything like it's your business, right? I mean, you do a job, it's your business. You do anything, that's your business, and that's entrepreneurship again.
And that path will kind of unveil itself, right? Like it has for all of us.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, in the last podcast that I had with Namita Thapar, she spoke about mehnat to karni padegi. Ghas ke, in enterprise we say jute ghasne padenge, right? But also, today we live in a different world, right? I mean, also work-life balance is a very important thing today. Also, the kind of opportunities, the kind of abundance that we have seen, young people have seen, is very, very different. Like you said, knowledge is abundant. So there's a difference, right? When there's a difference in the environment and in the culture. Now, if you have to really look at it, and having young adults in your homes, what is it that you would want to tell the Gen Z of today, the youngsters of today? Because we naturally tend to give advice that was relevant from our times, right? But if you have to really look at it from their perspective, it's a very different world. Competition is very different. Information. What would you want to tell them? Hey, just have a look at this. Hey, keep this in your mind.
I don't think that perspective will be understood. But I mean, I have a 17-year-old, and I don't think. I think there are two different worlds now, and the only advice is basically I think you need to free up your mind to actually learn. Freeing up your mind would actually mean the gadgets don't really give you knowledge till the time you seek knowledge from them, right? They are only giving you noise at that point in time. I think you need to free up your mind to actually start learning. And that can only happen when you are not around this too much. And
very interesting that you say that. Free up your mind so that there's space for you to. And I like what you said, that the gadgets you will only learn if you ask to learn from them. Beautiful. I mean, what would be your kind of friendly?
So we all became friends when we were 17, 18. Yeah. We didn't listen to anybody. This generation is not going to listen to us. But they will find their way, I'm very sure. And they'll find their way better and quicker because I think so they are more evolved than us, where we came from. So I'm not worried about that too much. Like he said, yes, if they could. My advice to the next generation would be focus on the bigger picture. Don't sweat it out like, bahar bahut dhoop hai, barish hai, kaise jao. Right. This could be a problem today because you have so much knowledge here on the internet, but if you have to go and sell a book today outside, you have to go out, right? So it should not stop you. Your focus has to about selling the book.
Nice.
So focus on that and deal with the other uncomforts. Ignore them.
Keep your eyes on the big picture.
Yeah. With now we see this AI and all these. So a lot of things will get automated. A lot of processes will not require people, but there is still going to be some part of a human that is going to be required to give an input to make it feel
Just to add to that, basic for me, what I understand about entrepreneurship or business, everything else is a tool. Basic business is between two people.
Beautiful.
So it happens between you and me. When we agree, there is business. If we don't agree, there is no business. I think so that's plain simple. And for everything to happen, both of us are required.
Everything else is a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool.
Interesting. What is it that you think we should learn from today's youth?
Yeah.
That got a few.
Yeah. So no, they are ahead in technology for sure. Their mind definitely works in a different way. They look at things in a different light, I would say. We come from, so I think so me, Shivraj come from really primitive backgrounds in terms of, we worked hard.
Right.
In the sun, we put 12 hours outdoors. That was our training grounds, and we think that's where, that is what has actually shaped us. This generation probably is built differently. They might not all of them might want to take that path. There are better paths. They can reach there quickly, better, or they can have different platforms. So for us, I think so we should give them space and time to tell their story. We have to be patient to listen to them. We listen to them and maybe we'll get somewhere. Otherwise, the gap is too big.
Your daughter is listening to this.
I hope she's listening to this.
Shivraj.
No, when I was at Enterprise and we had that, the students had gone and they were doing a product development for XYZ companies that were there. I think the questions that they were asking were extremely relevant, and I really thought that I in their age would never have been able to ask those questions. I feel that in their understanding, in the depth of knowledge, I feel they're far ahead of where we were as when we were 18 and 19-year-olds. So something to learn from them would be that basically don't be shy to ask questions, because that's what they were. They were really not shy in asking us the questions that they wanted answers to. So learning that at that point in time for me sometimes would have been I didn't ask those many questions when I was growing up. They can ask questions. They're not shy about it. They don't hold themselves back. So I think that's something to learn from.
Absolutely. One thing that I have learned and keep learning from young people is that, today's world, they don't see India as anything less than anyone else in the world. They see us as world class, and they see themselves as, whether it's music or art or it's technology. Today's youngsters, they see world class and they want to be the best in the world. We somewhere in our generation still had that, India is yet coming up. So I think that is so inspiring. Okay, guys, last few questions, rapid fire round. You get only 10 seconds to answer these, okay? So, are you ready? Question number 1. What's your idea of fun, Shivraj?
Fishing, sitting in a boat and having a beer and fishing.
Motorcycling. Go out on a motorcycle, ride long and hard and fast.
Crazy, huh? Here are two real estate entrepreneurs, fishing and motorcycling. Okay, what's your idea of a perfect career, Amit?
Very fun. You at the end of the day, you go home and don't think about it. Did I do something right? Then you're doing well.
I guess I'll talk from the perspective of the work I'm doing currently, and I think I would like that my career or my whatever I do and build from here stands the test of time. People love what I have done for them. They appreciate that work, and that's where I would.
Lovely. Rapid fire question number 3. What's your idea of cool, Shivraj?
Cool.
somebody who can I like, again, I just like I say, build things. If somebody knows how to build this table, I think that person is cool.
You.
Aha! Winning answer.
Yeah.
Genuine, what's your answer? Cool.
No, seriously, you. Because since college, you were the cool dude, and you're still a cool dude. So you did things ahead of their times. Then also, today also.
I remember him building those metronomes. You remember?
I also like building things.
So I think so. Very. I think so. You're cool today also. Let's keep it there.
Okay, question number 4. How do you take criticism?
Criticism constructively, because there is no other way to take it. If you can learn from it, if you can correct yourself. Sometimes you get, obviously you're human, so sometimes you can get annoyed about it. But the more you take it in a sense to improve yourself, I think so it works out all right then.
Nice. Shivraj, for you?
I kind of would second that. I think you need to just leave your ego outside the door when you're working with people.
Once you're in sales, basically, once I started selling from engineering to sales, when I shifted job, that was first learning. The customer is always right, and you become humble because as an engineer, you worked with 200 laborers, right? So you were the big guy there, and then suddenly anybody and everybody comes and teaches you everything. That's fine. So I think so. Once you do sales,
You learn that automatically.
you learn that too.
And you always tell yourself it's just business, it's not personal.
Yeah. Okay, 5th rapid fire question. Success or happiness, Shivraj?
I would choose happiness, but I don't think it comes without success.
It's hand in hand, I think so.
Okay.
But happiness and then success. Probably
Happiness
first.
and then success?
Yeah, but they are related. They don't. You can't be happy without being successful. Success doesn't mean money in that sense. If you're pointing out to money, then they're two different things. But happiness is, every time you're successful, the happiness will come.
Is there a podcast or a social media influencer that you guys follow and you think you'd like to recommend it to people who are watching this podcast to follow? Anyone who's kind of influenced you or you've learned from? Thank you very much. Spirit of Enterprise.
I like your body of work. Those letters that you write. I read as many as I can. Recently, I've read a book by Sahil Bloom. It's a great book. And then I think he also has a podcast.
Right. So Sahil Bloom's podcast is something you'd recommend? Okay. I mean, any podcast or social influencer that you would like to recommend?
I would recommend stay away from social media as far as possible.
Okay. Lastly, there are people from all over the country and even outside who are watching this. I would love for you guys to share something that you want to share with everybody in Hindi or Marathi. Anything that you would like to say to the young people of India, either in Hindi or Marathi.
It's a very tall ask.
I have nothing to share.
ये तो बोलना चाहिए था पहले लिख के लाते हैं.
I think one more thing that even young kids should learn and everybody should learn is with entrepreneurship, you also need to understand finance. I think learning finance and not thinking that ये तो मेरा काम नहीं है type of thing ना. I think वो जरूरी है. With that, I think everybody should learn how to manage money. We were talking about Anil Lamba sir. So learn how to read a balance sheet. I think those are also things that you should keep in mind while you're doing everything else.
Actually, I want to ask one more question. We have a lot of young people coming from smaller towns, from interiors of India, and a lot of young people who don't come from business families, right? And they have entrepreneurship. They want to build and create a business one day. What would be something that you would like to tell them? Now, Hindi, Marathi, English, whatever you like, but tell it, like you really mean it. What would you want to say?
पहले तो कोई भी बिजनेस करने से पहले, खुद का बिजनेस चालू करने से पहले, I would very strongly recommend किसी के साथ काम करो उस सिमिलर फील्ड में जो मैंने किया था, where you learn everything with the mindset that we discussed earlier that you own it. You could do a small job there, but you see, keep your eyes and ears open. Smaller organizations are better to learn because you get exposure to a lot of different areas. So anybody who wants to do a business, I would say join a smaller firm, 20 people, 30 people kind of firms, any area. Work there 2-3 years, ride at bottom, start at bottom, and then grow as far as up as you can go, and be patient with it. Don't be in a hurry to make
And I
money.
also say help out
Help
everybody,
out outside
everybody
your
in that,
area,
in that
outside area.
organization, in that 30, 40 man organization. Try to get into every part of that business, because business is not just, it's not just that product.
Right.
It's a lot of things that go into making that product.
Don't be stuck just in your role, but
Yeah.
help everybody in
Help
your
everybody, and you can learn something from that as well. It may not contribute anything towards your development, or it will definitely contribute towards your development. It may not contribute much towards your salary or your income or whatever, but it will definitely contribute towards your development.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for coming and doing this spirit of enterprise. So that's really the spirit of enterprise, guys. The story of starting at the bottom, loving what you do, working without giving up, and rising to the top. Thank you so much for joining this session.